There's no loss without some gain.
Insert something really dope right here.
If you scared to take a chance,
If you with me, then I'm with you.
Yo, how we doing, y'all? And we're back with One Day, the show with who knows you know about life and everything. Today we're talking about fear. And this is after a month of talking about becoming one. And I mentioned to y'all last episode that I would talk about the three biggest obstacles that I've faced to becoming one. So, yeah, this next 6 weeks, month and a half, I'll be giving y'all the three biggest obstacles and then the three biggest, what I call the cures to the obstacles, so the ways to overcome them. So the first three we're going to be tackling, bad news first. We're tackling fear, and then next episode will be depression, and then we'll talk about anxiety, because those three things, as far as inflicting me on a daily basis and really, getting in the way of me being myself and progressing as the best version of myself every day. Yeah, those are some pretty big obstacles that I face. So this is actually going to be helping me, hopefully as much as it helps you. But this is going to be helping me try to face that, because even now even with this, I still face fear and anxiety about, am I is this episode going to be good? Is this going to help anybody? Are people going to listen to it? Are they going to understand where I'm coming from? But we'll talk about that in the anxiety episode. I'm also, of course, afraid of how people are going to take this, and a little bit of what people could say. It's worth it to me if I can help somebody face their fears and get closer to feeling like themselves. That's totally worth facing these fears for me. So hence why I'm doing it. Speaking of fear, you might be afraid of the sideburn look I got going on. I have my hood up, and it looks silly. But we're keeping it. Whatever. Facing my fears. And it's very prevalent, especially for this year of fear. Actually, I'd say that I have faced fear. I think for the longest period of time, thanks to 2020. Of course, the pandemic, the illness, people getting sick. But also there's been a lot of social unrest. Breaks my heart. The politics, a big theme again, every 4 years. A lot of financial insecurity going on around right now. Businesses closing, and it's just hard. It's scary. It's dark, It's a lot of the reason that I'm actually I'm afraid to even get started with this, because I really want to encourage people that we will get better, and that there will be better days. But when you're in it, when you're in the middle of seemingly chaos or crisis, speaking, and this is so weird, talking about myself pre-quarantine, pre-pandemic, I try my best to be optimistic, and I really feel in myself that I am this optimistic, positive person, and I really want to tap into that, and share that energy with other people, because I do see us getting better. I the things that we're learning right now in the pandemic, how, especially with how school is being run, what works, what doesn't work, when society stops, what happens? It's a good time to reflect. It's a good time for review. Plugging my own song, shouting out my own song, but reset. It's a time to reset, reevaluate, see what works, see what doesn't work, reform, change. And I feel like right now fear is just such a contributor to how we're feeling that I'm worried that, the change that happens will be out of fear instead of out of caring. And that's kind of what I want to gear this episode towards is, because fear can be this super intimidating thing. And you want to act all brave and you want to act all courageous and I want to face my fears. I want to be fearless. But when it comes down to like really scary moments, especially when you grow up, it's like you got to face reality, And sometimes in reality, you want to be, I wish I was the knight. I had my armor, I had my shield and my sword, and I could go slay the dragon. But I'm still working my way there. Starting as peasant boy with the wooden sword. Wooden sword and, trying to come up from nothing. Like, it kind of reminds me, hopefully I have some gamers listening. If you ever play Legend of Zelda, you start off with like a wood shield and sword, and you work your way up to getting the master sword, master shield. Dude, I'm geeking out a little bit, but it's kind of like that. Like, you grow up, you get responsibilities, you learn things. Life ain't cheap, life ain't fair. You gotta work for freedom, work for equality. It takes focus. And so often we're focusing on the things that are happening externally. How do you avoid it? Like, all the stuff that's going on, how can you not focus on it? How can you not put your attention towards it? But sometimes, a lot of the times, I've been finding myself victimized because of everything that's going on, and it's like stuff that I fear, that like personally I fear. Like, I don't want there to be systematic racism. I don't want there to be inequality. I don't want there to be a giant mass pandemic that people are getting sick and dying off of. I'm bumming myself out because I am afraid of what's going on. And yes, of course, I want to face it with respect and with gratitude because I'm learning. I'm learning what I can handle. I'm learning how I react to certain situations. I'm learning a lot about myself, a lot about my character, because I've been getting bummed out by stuff. And, knock on everything, I haven't gotten sick. And I really hope I don't. But people have been. And I'm feeling for them, dude. And everybody that's contributing to try to bring the world back. Bring us all back. Thank you, for real. Working on the front lines, trying to get us back to life. Man, and I wish that everybody was, focused on what really matters here because, so often we do get caught up in what's going on, and, what's going on right now, it's horrible. But it's always good to remember that it's not forever. And that eventually this pandemic will be over. And hopefully, politics is something I'm still trying to grasp. I'm still trying to understand. All I can do is just hope for the greater good. And, so I've been so caught up in everything that's going on, that eventually, it's just like, okay, bro, I gotta remember myself. Like, who am I in all of this? What can I do? Like, yeah, I want to encourage you to remember who you are. Look within. Remember who you truly are. Because this has been bringing us down. This has been making us depressed, making us fearful, making us anxious. But that ain't you. You can feel that, but you please don't identify with that. Deep down, like, at the core of who you are, the core of who I am is not depressed, is not anxious, is not afraid. But things out in the world have made me that way. And it's sad. It definitely affects me. But I don't want to be sad anymore. I really don't. Like, I've been sad long enough. And this is like, ice cream on top of the cherry, on top of the cake, on top of the frosting, on top of the cake. Like, this is just extra weight. Gosh, and I don't know about y'all, but I really want to see Earth become the best. Like, I want to see the best of Earth. Do I think we made it there yet? We still got some loose ends to tie, y'all. We still have some loose ends to tie, some holes to patch up. But do I think we can do it? Oh yeah, I totally do. I think we can come back. Yeah. I mean, still doesn't take away from fear. It's real. I know. I mean, we got. If you want to go, we can. There, let's slow down a little bit, because we can go into fears like phobias, like the real physical fears. You're afraid of stuff. Mine, if I had a phobia, something I'm really afraid of. Just from experience, I'm a little afraid of death. I'm afraid of dying. I've gotten too close a couple of times, where now I'm just like, please, like, nah. Does that stop me from rock climbing? Does that stop me from, having a pet snake? Like, no, I'm still adventurous. I just, again, that awareness, I'm not trying to just, like, that and centipedes. I know that's a bit of a stretch. It's like, yeah, I'm afraid of, like, dying, and I'm also afraid of centipedes. Oh my gosh. But, yeah, there's phobias like puke, heights. People are afraid of snakes. But I mean, you think about, death, taxes, always a big theme. Stress, anxiety, depression, these mental fears, these things that, I'm afraid of losing myself to these things, right? I'm afraid that I'm always going to be depressed, or I'm always going to be anxious, or I'm always going to be fearful. I'm afraid that I'm going to become those things. And that's not what I want to be. I don't want to be that. Hopefully you don't want to be that for yourself too. I don't want you to be that. I want you to be happy, homie. I want us to get back to being happy. I want us to, we're getting into it. All right, let's go. So, yeah, I think you got this. I really do. Like, I want to believe in me, and I'm working on it. But I also really want to believe in you. And if you're hearing me right now, if you're listening to this, come on. You got to believe in yourself. You're facing this. You're listening about fear. You're listening about awareness, becoming one, finding your truth. You got this. You're on the right path. You're where you need to be. You're right where you need to belong. I wish I could assure myself in these things too, bro. You teach the lessons you need to learn, but very happy to to be talking about this. If I ever stutter or like, kind of, I'm a little nervous about being vulnerable is what it is, but I'm trying my best to stay open. But I also, want to make sure that this makes sense to you, because I could talk about all my fears and all the things that make me afraid, but I mean, that would make for another episode. I think fear in a general sense of just being an obstacle, of getting in the way of you finding your true self and being your true self. I mean, again, on a daily basis, especially now, like, it's always nice to have a reminder to, just remember who you are, what you've got, what makes you special, and yeah, how important you are. And go from there. Go from here. Here to there, here to, wherever you're trying to go. I mean, just please be safe and be cautious and aware during this time. But some things that have helped me face my fears are well, first of all, let me give you some examples, because I have a friend, Maya Williams, where before we even became friends, she introduced herself with this quote about everything you want is on the other side of what you fear. And the more I've faced my fears, the more I've really, come face to face with the things that I'm most afraid of. It showed me a lot about who I am and how I handle that. And, honestly, it's brought me to want to help other people to handle it too. And that's all I've ever wanted. That's all I wanted, to help people be able to face the scary parts of life, answer the hard questions, the questions that matter, but are sometimes, big, the big why. But yeah, more and more that I'm facing my fears, I'm realizing that it's helping me solidify who I am as a person, and how I face these things that make me afraid, and how I address them within myself, but how I, encourage other people to address them too. I want to encourage you. That's my other example, is Paulo Coelho in his book, Warrior of the Light. There's a page in there that talks about, gosh, the story's slipping from me. The Warrior of the Light shares his world with the people that he loves, and he encourages them when they lack the ability to do that. But then an enemy of the Warrior of the Light holds up two signs. One sign says, only think about yourself, and I'm trying to remember. Keep everything to yourself, think only for yourself, and keep all your blessings. That's what it is. Keep all your blessings, or else you'll lose them. And so one sign says, only think for yourself, and don't give away your blessings, or else you lose them. And another sign says, who do you think you are? Trying to help other people. Don't you know that you have faults? Don't you know that you have flaws? And, the Warrior of the Light thinks for a second. He's like, yeah, I do have faults. I do have flaws. But then he looks at the enemy, he takes the signs, and he throws them on the ground. Because even if they do contain a bit of truth, everybody faces that. And so it's his job to encourage them in their journey of facing that, instead of succumbing to the enemy, just telling them what's what. Because we all kind of have that enemy that's saying, what do you know? Who do you think you are? You should keep all your blessings and everything that you have to yourself, because you'll lose it if you just give it to everybody else. If I can embody that at all in this webcast, in this video, to you, just encouraging you, because I've faced that a lot. That enemy I know very well. And I'm sorry it took me so long to remember the signs, but yeah, that's has been something that's, gosh, I'm sorry, I'm like caught up because I was afraid of messing that up, and now I messed it up, and now I'm facing my fears, and now it's all like coming back full circle. But hopefully you're still with me and hear what I'm getting at, because so often we face judgment and criticism about what do you know and how can you help other people. Shouldn't you just keep things to yourself and find security that way. But the beginning of the passage, I think that's why the beginning of the page starts with the warrior shares his will with the people that he loves. You got to understand that, like, so often I've been encouraged and helped by people that have gone out of their way to, in some form of human to human love, given me a chance to, an opportunity to, get better, whether it be teachers or parents, friends, like people, strangers even, just like, doing you a solid. I experienced that a lot yesterday. I held the door open for a dude's girl, and apparently he makes juices. He gave me some juice. I have it as my beverage. Look at that beautiful juice. It actually is a mixture of a lot of good stuff. But yeah, I had to thaw it out this morning, and because it was frozen, so I've been kind of waiting it slowly to melt down. And that's cool too, don't be afraid of strangers. Don't be afraid of helping people out. Like, you never know how it could come back. How, like, good karma circles around. But yeah, so often I've, faced that enemy, and maybe it's not even a physical person saying that. Maybe it's even just in your head. Like, who do you think you are? Shouldn't you just keep everything you know to yourself and whatever? At some point I've been training myself so much with this warrior of the light mentality that it's like, I'm sorry, I'm saying whatever, but this is very real, and I apologize for me being like, whatever to the enemy, but that's just how I feel about him now. That enemy who keeps, coming back, trying to make me afraid of encouraging other people and sharing my world. And gosh, bro, I want to take those signs and I want to throw them on the freaking ground, Hopefully you do too. Hopefully you're getting a little amped, a little motivated right now. And that's what helps, yo. How to get over fear. If I could give you any advice, it takes you. You've got to try. You got to keep getting up. You got to, and I'm sorry, but after you keep getting up, you'll feel it. You'll feel it. Your spirit, if I may, will start feeling a lot more energized, a lot more, I can get up again. I will get up again. And yeah, because I found myself, pushed in the dirt, pushed my face in the mud, and still somehow finding a way to, pick my head up, get a gasp of air, and pick myself up from that dirt. And you can too, yo. You freaking can do this. You got to be optimistic. You got to take care of yourself. You got to show yourself love. Very powerful stuff, y'all. Love. That energy, if you can give it to yourself, really give it. Help yourself feel it. Help yourself feel appreciated. Help yourself feel worth it. Because you are worthy. You deserve it. You're here. You're alive. Out of all of the coincidences and chances of the whole entire universe, you're here. Use it. Use your time. Be in an environment that supports you. Surround yourself with people that encourage you, that motivate you, that help you feel determined to face your fears, that, put yourself into that environment. Commit yourself to things that gas you up and fuel your passions, fuel your purpose. You need that. Rather be fueled than get drained, y'all. Don't let stuff drain you. Keep your attitude, your mental. Keep it positive. Keep it oriented towards being grateful, towards gratitude, towards gladness, towards goodness. And then fear doesn't seem so scary. Trust me. All the things that I've been through that have shaken me to my core and made me the most afraid. Now, looking back, I'm thankful. It's helped me be who I am. feel the way I do, know the things I know. I don't let my fear define me. But how I overcome my fears, that's who I be, yo. That's who I be. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully, y'all, your homework, let's try to get that quick win. Give me one quick win this week before you watch the next episode over fear. Do one quick little thing. You know, doesn't have to be extreme. I'm not asking you to do anything extreme. Just one quick win over fear. You know, maybe you were afraid of holding the door open for somebody. Maybe you were afraid of, smiling through your mask at some cutie, or just do something that usually kind of makes you a little afraid, a little fight or flight. Start facing that. Gain a little bit of courage. Gain a little bit of confidence. You deserve to feel that in yourself. Don't be afraid of that. We're facing our fears, y'all. And I'm talking about the obstacles, but after the obstacles are the cures. So bear with me. We're getting there. You know what it is.